For those of you that aren't aware, I am Murphy and I'm joined inside the box with Alex, aka the console. Very good evening, Alex.
Good evening, Murphy. We're in for a blinding one today. First race of the season at a marvellous track really to go racing in.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one really. Kicking off our American tour of the GT3s this season as we go into the winter months in the Northern Hemisphere. We're escaping over to warmer climate in terms of our North America tour. The running order is pretty much sealed up as Dr. Potford closes over the line, so let's have a look through that running order for race 1 here at Daytona's road course. Linga Bazinga does enough for pole position and does bag the bonus point with Bruce Law not too far behind him whatsoever, making up the front row. Snarling Bongo, fellow Dutch compatriot of Linga Bazinga, does enough for third place with Fast AF Gamer joining him on the second row. Blankfile, our new driver, falls into fifth alongside Tibby, whereas Immortalis and Dr. Potford are in 7th and 8th. Survivor 1880, aka Best Gamer, in 9th position with Giacomo in 10th. And then Dragon, his teammate, just behind him in 11th place with Luna Zodiac, our Australian staff member, falling into 12th place. Luke Snipes does enough for 13th in his Porsche 911 with Stoltz and T. Scott behind them in the McLaren. And then unfortunately Green Gaming in the Cadillac falls down into 16th at the back of this grid. And we're underway. Looks as though the Audis have struggled ever so slightly to get off the line. Let's jump into the chase cam. Just waiting for the lights. And there we go, under green light and crossing over the line. Let's jump over to Tibby as we start into the break-in of turn 1. Looks as though Bruce Law's managed to get the move done on Linga Bazinga into turn 1 around the outside, so very interesting indeed. So Bruce Law leads to Linga Bazinga with Snarling Bongo behind him with Fast AF Gamer in 4th. Blankfile is just on the move. In fact, it looks as though we've had somebody with an off. Fast AF Gamer falls all the way down to the back, just followed by T. Scott it seems. So not sure what happened there, but he's managed to get his M6 up and moving once again. Let's go back over to Immortalis in 4th position, and he collides with the rear of Blankfile, and that's going to concertina these cars right up. But Blankfile looks as though he's got away from it pretty scot-free, but he continues in 4th position with a huge train of cars behind him, and you can see the differences in line there being taken, but most drivers appear to be away cleanly. Immortalis hasn't lost too much momentum either, in 5th place after his collision. Dr. Potford just running a little bit deep under brakes there, and that allows Giacomo to retake that 5th position. So this is going to be one of those contests that we can see. Oh, as we see contact there behind with Dragon into the back of Dr. Potford, and it looks as though that rash decision by Dragon has actually taken out his teammate and allowed Dr. Potford to run away with 5th place. Now it looks as though T. Scott is going to be challenging them both for their 7th and 6th place.
Immortalis does drive on the controller as well, which is makes his pace just that little bit more impressive. There's no easy feat. The commentator's cursor that kicks right in. Normally it's quite hard to feel what the car's doing underneath you playing on a pad, but he seems to have these technique down for it.
Yeah, he certainly does. He seems to be able to drive these high downforce cars quite well, and maybe we have spoken too soon. It looks as though Immortalis and Stoltz getting spun around there on exit, and it's gone from bad to worse for Immortalis.
That one's for the fans.
Donutting it around. Let's have a look at the moves being made within the slipstream now. Coming into turn 1. You see, it looks as though Dragon very early onto the brakes, and it looks as though it's worked out for him, and we have a huge collision there between Green Gaming and T. Scott. T. Scott just losing the rear end, and that's allowed Blankfile to make inroads as well up into 8th place, but there's certainly going to be some heavy damage on either one of those cars, potentially both of them, after an impact like that. Luckily, quite low speed in the braking into turn 1, but it's still going to bear its fruit for sure. Into turn one, he looks as though he's going up the outside, switches back over to the outside, and he's dicing with death there, really. Giacomo is trying to do him under braking, and it looks as though that is a great move from the Audi R8 of Giacomo there. Textbook up the inside, late onto the brakes, just held that inside line, and look at the distance that he's covered. I think that Cadillac might well want to come in for some repair, I think. So back over to Luke Snipes, who's doing pretty good at the moment in his Porsche 911. Number 90 Thrustmaster, and it looks as though he's just been able to do Dragon up the inside as Dragon gets his braking all sorts of wrong. Sticking onto the rear bumper. This is where we saw him colliding under braking last time, and it looks as though he's a little bit more tuned into the cars on circuit behind him. It looks as though he's got a good drive as well coming out of that one. Is he going to challenge up the inside this time? No, he's not. He's going to just do it around the outside. So Luke looked as though he got a little bit squirrely into the braking of that one, but he's holding his speed quite well, so may well challenge for that once we get onto this banked oval section. So back over to the battle between Luke Snipes and Dragon. So these two have been trading places quite a bit, and it looks as though Luke Snipes just holding into the slipstream of the R8 at the moment. Looks up to the inside for the break-in to the bus stop, and Dragon just turns into him there. Awful decision by Dragon. I think that is yet another steward's inquiry. So a couple of contacts from Dragon here. I'm trying to remember whereabouts he's from. It could be Estonia, I could be wrong, but I know he currently resides in Texas. And yeah, awful decision there. Just turned in on Luke Snipes after Luke Snipes was up the inside. So whether or not he saw him, I don't know, but his markers should be on. Luke Snipes now falls into 6th position. So Bruce Law continues to assert his dominance. He's got 8 seconds at the moment. That's only going to get bigger as Dr. Potford in 3rd position comes in for a change of wet tyres as well, as does Tibby. So Dr. Potford's had a great drive, really. After getting caught up in a few antics right at the start of this race, he's managed to stick it out and so far hold on to a podium. We will have to wait and see as the rest of the field now deciding that this track is just too wet for dry tyres and coming in for those wets with just under 12 minutes remaining of the session. This is where things can really start to get interesting for those drivers that spotted the rain sooner and came in for a change of tyres. Looks as though there's a 650S there that's still on dry tyres, getting very, very loose. Is that T. Scott? Potentially. It looks as though Dr. Potford is out of the pits sooner than Snarling Bongo, so Dr. Potford moves up into 2nd place here. He's quite a way back from Bruce Law, so he's not going to be able to challenge for 1st, but let's have a look when he gets onto the track, and let's see how this split changes up. Currently showing us 2 minutes, but I knew it's not going to be that. 45, 46 seconds now, Dr. Potford, who's got a couple of seconds ahead of Snarling Bongo, who's actually battling with the 911 of Tibby at the moment.
Tibby and Dr. Potford, obviously, looks like the biggest winners for the rainy conditions there. Snarling looks like he's getting all kinds of wrong. Facing the wrong way a couple of times there.
He did well, really, to get control of that and get it facing the right way once again. So style points, if not the championship points. Back on over to Tibby, though. Looks as though he's just taken 2nd place away from Dr. Potford. They're entering the bus stop. He allows that 2nd place to come back through, and maybe he's just going to try and nab the slipstream.
Get another smart move. You'll get the toe now all the way around this into turn 1. If you get there early enough, turn 1 is dangerous, but also an ideal place to overtake. You can push the other car to the outside where it's very slippy and not a lot of grip. And sort of force the area, really make it as easy as possible. See Tibby trying to get underneath to take the force Dr. Potford to the outside. Obviously forcing a little too hard. And it puts him all the way around. Tibby just getting a little bit too close, and it's a huge impact. He was an absolute passenger there on the grass, and that Porsche is going to be massively damaged. So really unfortunate from Tibby there. In the final 5 minutes of this race, he's just going to have to try and hold on for damage control and hopefully
remain in 4th position. He has got almost 13 seconds to Blankfile behind him, but Blankfile now will be licking his chops in order to try and take that from him. And here is the roundup for race 1 in the GT3 Championship. Bruce Law, as mentioned, coming away with the race victory and the fastest lap bonus point with a 1:45.139. Not too far off his practice time set there. Dr. Potford gets his first podium of the season this season with a 2nd place finish ahead of Snarling Bongo, who does enough for 3rd. Tibby just missed out in 4th position with Blankfile managing to finish behind Immortalis across the line, but looks as though potentially a penalty was served and therefore Immortalis drops down 1 further position. Dragon does enough for 7th place with Luke Snipes in 8th. Giacomo ends up on a couple of recovery drives and a few great moves from the young driver to finish in 9th place with the Cadillac of Green Gaming in 10th. Fast AF Gamer does enough for 11th place, but he won't be happy with that. Ahead of Stoltz though, who pitted 3 times in the end with some pretty lengthy pit stops. T. Scott does enough for 13th place, also with 3 pit stops, as with Survivor, who had that massive lengthy pit with a 10-second penalty added on. Luna Zodiac was disqualified for speeding in the pit lane, so doesn't finish in position, and Linga Bazinga also retired after what seemed to be a very heavy shunt. So that concludes week 1 here at Flux Motorsport's opening of season 2. You'll be able to join us live, or myself live, and with the console on the circuit for the touring cars on Tuesday, live from 8 o'clock PM UK time, and we'll be going over to the Portimao circuit in Portugal. Current weather forecast is looking quite changeable, so be sure to check the Google weather report on Monday afternoon for the predicted weather at Tuesday at 1 o'clock for that simulated race time. Then of course you'll be able to catch the action uploaded later on for the GT1 circuit. That race from race 1 around Sportsland Sugo is now live on the YouTube channel. Be sure to hit a subscribe button onto that to make sure that you don't miss any of the action as those races get uploaded. Then we'll be having some LMP2 action on Saturday, which unfortunately can't be broadcast, but those LMP2 drivers going around Monza GP this time around. And then you'll be able to join us next week live at the same time on Sunday for the Circuit of the Americas with both myself and the console in the box from that one. So I've been your host for the evening. My name's Murphy, alongside my very good friend Alex. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, Alex. Hope you enjoyed that one.
Thank you for having me, mate. That was a brilliant race, and what a way to kickstart the season, eh?